How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on SPY. It was a super small win. I was up a bit more, but we didn't quite hit my profit target. Then price started to chop around and look like it was going to reverse. So I took a small profit and got out of that position. I'll go over that in just a second. For now, we're looking at SPY here on the daily time frame. You can see that we've put in this higher low here over the course of this week, made a pretty good recovery. Not too far off from all-time highs, around 503.5 there. Today was an inside bar, so candle body of today's price actions contained within the candle body of the previous day's price action sets us up for a pretty interesting situation. We either look for a break and maybe potentially new lows, or a new swing low, that is, or if we break to the upside, that all-time high is not far away. So kind of sets us up really interesting going into the next week. We can take a look at the 30-minute time frame. Just look at some areas I was watching. So I had the all-time high area up here, supply. Also that pre-market high was pretty much at the bottom of that, around 503.3. We had yesterday's high day around 502.2. We had this demand zone, demand or supply, whichever way you're approaching it, from yesterday, where we had multiple wicks off in the pre-market in the morning. Once we broke through on a pretty bullish candle there, we found support before continuing for new highs on that day. So this zone between pretty much like 550 or 500.50, I should say, to 501, about a 50-cent range, kind of broader than I'd like, but that is what we were looking at. And then we had yesterday's low day around 498.8, and then the zone, demand zone corresponding to that, around 498.4 to 498.8. And that was just this resistance that we had a couple days ago, flip turned support. That's about it. That's what we were watching. We had a similar setup into today where over the pre-market we broke above yesterday's highs. And we're kind of pulling back into that area. We had a pretty big sell-off. We had PPI come out hotter than expected, so a pretty big sell-off. And that was kind of what we were looking at to set up the day. We can take a zoom in right off the morning, below yesterday's high day, pretty big sell-off. We found some support around yesterday's low of day, and then started to approach this pre-market low. I took my sole trade here, it was a single put. We can take a look at why that is. The reason is because we had a swing low here in the pre-market. We got a bounce, broke through that on really high volume, a lot of momentum, and then we started to approach this area on decreasing volume. So volume was pretty big at the point of reversal, but as we approached this once support turned resistance, volume wasn't really there to accompany that. And then we had this 5-minute close here where we almost got to that pre-market low and then experienced kind of that long upper wick there, showing us that sellers were in this area. We also, I won't throw it on, you'll just have to take my word for it, but we had the 9 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. The 9 EMA was right in this area as well. I think it was right around 500.3 or 0.4, so right in this general range. So all those things kind of adding up. I took a put after this 5-minute candle printed. We can take a look at the 1-minute chart. I've been using the 1 minute a little bit more instead of the 2-minute. I might be flip-flopping back and forth between those to determine which one I like the most, but something I'm trying. So we got that rejection here. That's what you see on the 5-minute, is this approach up into this level and a rejection. I took put here on this candle once we started push back up into this area. Now, ideally, I wanted to see us retest that pre-market low, right? That was the kind of the point at which we had bounced off before, and that was where I wanted to enter, ideally, because it would make my stop, a bit clearer if we broke and showed strength above it. I entered too early here, so that was my execution problem today. I saw this, and once we started pushing back up into this area, these previous 2 candles, I got in because I thought, we might reject before we get up to this point. So maybe a bit of FOMO because I had watched what a sell-off we had this morning. I can only think that that's the explanation as to why I took this before we actually got to my target, which, once we pushed up here, that's a full 20 cents or more, 30 cents above my entry. So entering up here would have been a much better risk to reward situation. So that was the error that I made. I held through this push up. I was down a little bit at this point. But ultimately what I was looking for was a rejection off that pre-market low. So I felt comfortable holding up until we showed strength in this area, indicating that we were going to continue. When we got this sell-off here, I was up a decent amount. I had 500 puts, same day expiration, so I bought them a little bit out of the money. I was targeting 499.5, which is right in here. This kind of area was my target because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 touches in this area. That was what I was ideally looking for in terms of a target. Also, why I was targeting this is because we had a few bounces. I wasn't sure how far this pullback would last. This would still be a higher low in case we were bullish. So that was the reason why I was targeting this level. The target here, stop above pre-market low there. I was in profit here. I didn't take it because ultimately I wanted to see this target, another 30 or 40 cents below. We started chopping around in here, and I took my profit on this candle here. Once we broke down below 500, I was back in profit, and I got out. And I'm glad I did, because you can see from this point, we broke up and set a new swing high, and then ultimately new highs on the day. So it was a good point for me to exit. Would have been smarter for me to exit here. 2020 hindsight, I say that a lot. But when you see this volume coming in as we did here, and we're having pretty bearish candles on the 1 minute, I don't think it was too unreasonable to think that we would come down to this point. But we didn't. And this kind of chop action was what shook me out. And I didn't like what I was seeing because of this right here. We had one touch, immediate bullish engulfing, come back down, immediate recover, come back down, start showing lower wicks, and that's why I got out. So I really didn't like what we were seeing. It looked like we were setting kind of a failure to break lower, and we even got pushed a little higher than this swing high here. And as we started approaching back down below 500, you could see that we were getting some wicks on the bottom of those candles, showing that, there were some buyers in that area still. So that's why I got out. That was the full rationale behind the trade. Ideally, I would have taken it to here, and that would have been probably, 30% or so trade, which would have been really nice. Albeit escaped with a few dollar profit rather that than stubbornly holding and taking a loss here when we start to see the writing on the wall, I suppose. That's the only trade I took on the day. There were some really nice trades. Zones worked pretty well today on SPY. They seem to be working better on QQQ. We can take a look at that, but this zone for sure, we slowed down, dumped through it, rejected, kind of pumped, consolidated in this area, set a new high, came down, retested, beautiful hammer candle. That would have been a nice entry. Before setting a new high, kind of dumped, retested this zone back down. So price action followed that pretty well. We can take a look at QQQ because I think it did better as it has been. From here, you can see we opened, and this was a trade that I missed. I was debating taking puts on this retest here on this second 5-minute candle. Reason being is we were below this supply zone. We sold, came back up. We're looking weak in this area on the 1 minute, and I debated getting puts here. I did not. The stop would have been a break above that yesterday's high and high a day. And I think watching that dump gave me a little bit of FOMO for real because those contracts went up over 300%. With that being said, you can see we kind of fell through, found support down here around 430, little bit of consolidation in this zone around 432, up to this zone around 434 or so, back down into this zone, back up. So zones seem to be working a little bit better on QQQ than SPY. But I'm going to take some time this weekend to really try to refine those. I like using the 30-minute time frame to kind of chart those out. I feel like it's a perfect blend between a higher time frame and a time frame that makes sense for my style of trading when I'm looking at like 5 2-minute charts. You're probably not going to a daily time frame level is going to react a little differently if you're looking at like scalping than say, a 15-30 minute level. So I like where I'm at. Just going to continue to try to refine and tweak. I might add some indicators to a 2-minute chart. I was looking at that last weekend, but I didn't apply it this week. I might kind of weigh the pros and cons between using the 1 minute versus the 2 minute is my entry time frame or entry exit time frame. We'll see. It'll be interesting, but that's all I got. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so I will be back next week. Monday is a holiday, so we will not be trading Monday. The markets will not be open. But Tuesday through Friday, you'll find me here trading on this channel. Please join me if you feel so inclined. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for watching. Peace.